All right, I got a comment here that I want to talk about. Can you explain to me what you are doing to try and make the ball read earlier? I've been bowling for years, but I have never understood the meaning of coming around the ball or letting it roll. I honestly don't know these terms or how to apply them. I'm just your ordinary 210 average house shot bowler. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is go to 10pindoctors.com. And you'll be able to go into the knowledge base. Once you have signed up for an account, you can go into the knowledge base, and there is a dictionary in there, or a directory, or whatever we called it. I don't remember, but it tells you all these terms and it explains out all the bowling terms, and you can search for terms and whatnot, and you can use a lot of the different stuff in there as well. So the easiest way, and usually the way you'll do it, getting your ball to read earlier, that is just by changing your hand position and rolling the ball more forward. So keeping your palm more up and towards the ceiling, and just getting your ball to roll more end over end. Typically, that will get the ball to see the middle and front part of the lane a little bit quicker, whereas if you are spinning it more sideways, and especially if you're tilting it up. So let me try and show you what tilt is a little bit. So when I'm tilting the ball, or not tilting the ball, I should say, when I'm rolling it more forward, the ball is going to roll this way. My hand's going to come through it this way, and you'll see the axis points here. They roll more end over end, and you're going to see a lot more roll that way forward. Whereas if I'm actually trying to tilt the ball, now my hand gets more inside and I'm releasing it from here to where this tilt, this is your axis point, it gets higher. And now I'm rotating the ball from here. And now you see this axis actually stays more towards the ceiling than anything as it rolls. And so what happens here is this will skid a lot more, and then it'll find its balance. So it'll skid, 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 and then find its balance here. Whereas if you roll it more forward and it's here, you have more balance already. It's already balanced. It's going to continue to roll. It's going to see the lane a little bit quicker instead of having to transition from here to here as it rolls through. Now, when we talk about rotation, as we're trying to get our hand around it, that's when we are actually rotating it sideways this way. And so now you're seeing the axis start to face us a little bit, and you're rolling it more off the side. So the axis is it's rolling more this way. So then it makes its motion straighter. So if it's tilted up this way and sideways, it's rotating like this, and then it starts to straighten out, and then it actually starts to roll forward. So you see more motion that way. But this also gets the ball down the lane a little bit further, depending. I want a lot of people to figure, or to understand, that just because you're spinning it off its side a little bit more, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get down the lane further, especially if there's a lot of dry boards. When there's a lot of dry on the boards, on the lane, a lot of times you're going to want to use more forward roll, because this will see the dry less drastic. Your ball's not going to violently react to the dry. Whereas if you're spinning it sideways and it's rolling more like this, it's going to try to go in that direction as soon as it sees dry boards. If it's more forward, it's not going to be trying to change direction as hard or as quick. It's going to blend off of it. So what I like to say is you want more of like a 45-degree rotation. So it's more like this. It's rotating this way. So that way when it straightens out, it goes from here to there, and you're not seeing a violent reaction a lot of the times. And then if you want more rotation, as you get further left, you obviously have to create more rotation, closer to 70, 80 degrees. So that way the ball, then when it starts skidding, it goes sideways instead of just dead forward. So just keep these things in mind. So when it comes to talking about rolling it more forward or more end over end, getting it to roll sooner, that's exactly what it is. It's just rolling it end over end straighter. As you create more rotation or getting around it a little bit more, you're creating more side spin. The more side spin you create, the more violent the ball is going to react off of the dry. Again, like I said, if there's a lot of dry on the lanes, that ball is going to read it quick, and it's going to make its motion. So a lot of times, sometimes you have to use a little bit more forward ball roll and keep a tighter angle to be able to get your ball to go through the pins. So just because the lanes are getting drier and your ball is starting to hook more, that doesn't necessarily mean you want to get your hand around it more. You just want to find a little bit more oil. And then as you move left into that more oil, When you do find oil enough to where your ball is going to clear through there clean enough, that's when you want to create more side rotation, so that way it can create more angle down lane and be able to get through the pins properly. So keep this in mind. I know a lot of people get confused with side rotation and forward roll, and they think that, you know, you only want to use forward roll when you're playing straight, and you only want to use side rotation when you're playing further left. That's not even true at all. There's a lot of times where I'll use side rotation playing straighter with a weaker ball with a lot less surface, so that way I can create the angle and create a little bit more skid in the front further right. And then there's times when I'll play a super tight angle in the middle of the lane where I'm rolling it dead forward, not trying to hook it too much and just control the pocket. So it just depends on the situation and depends on the pattern. A lot of the times when you're on a league pattern or something, you're not going to you're not going to shy away from getting your hand around it, because you want to create the most power off of the dry as you can, so keep this in mind. I hope this helps. If it does, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know. I don't care either way. Hopefully it does. But yeah, comment below, like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and we'll see you guys later.